Regenerativity. It's what I would like to talk about today. It's a concept that I incorporate in my idea of aging. I remember a quote from some unnamed old Tai Chi master, and it said, "The ease of old age is found in the accepting of our losses." Everybody loses. Eventually we lose our life. But on the way to losing our life, we lose many things. At almost 80 years old, I don't have the physical strength, and I don't have the physical mobility that I had as a younger man. And I'm at peace with that. I don't believe that old Tai Chi master went far enough. It's not enough, I'm finding, it's not enough to be at peace with our losses. That's half of it, or part of it. The other part is we have to keep moving forward. Nothing would seem worse to me than being a capable, conscious old man with nothing to do, with no purpose, with no involvement, just waiting around for death to drag me back into the earth. So the concept of regenerativity, of being able to regenerate ourselves, is an integral part of the study of Tai Chi Chuan. It's one of the things, let me backtrack. I was instantly consumed by Tai Chi even before I studied it. My brother had studied before I and introduced me, showed me some writings that came from a private teacher. There wasn't much published English material about Tai Chi at that time in the early 70s. And I instantly was a student before I even started studying. And one of the things that I really appreciate, I don't know, I don't have really good words to say these things, but one of the things is that you never learn anything new. We have 37 in the Chen Man Cheng form, 37 postures. I've been doing those 37 postures since the late 1970s. I don't learn those 37 and then go learn 37 more or 24 this or something else that, because those postures are vehicles for practicing principles, and one of those principles could be translated as letting go. In a group dinner after a workshop with Robert Smith, he was talking about his purpose. Studying Tai Chi was learning how to lose, because everybody does, and he wanted to lose well. Part of losing well is going down in life, not waiting for life. Not waiting for death. So at 80 years old, well, about 7 years ago, I left the United States, moved to Argentina with my wife, started a new Tai Chi school. I had wanted to start over again for 20, 25 years before I actually made the move. I had a musical composition teacher. His name was Lucky Moscow, Stephen Moscow. Not well known, but well known to certain type of musicians. And he said, don't get bored with yourself. Don't write the same piece over and over again. When you understand something, move on to something else. That's part of regenerativity. So at almost 80 years old, I'm starting with my wife a new Tai Chi school. It even has a new name. And I'm starting from a new beginning. So I'm teaching something that I've never taught before. And one thing that I almost immediately started doing is growing bonsai trees. I grew bonsai trees in California. I had trees that were old, well, not really old, 20 or 30 years old. When I was first starting to learn bonsai, I went to a Japanese man in Berkeley, California, Mr. Yamasaki. And he was in his 80s, and he had a beautiful nursery. And I say, how do you have so many trees and take care of so many trees? He said, it's simple, I just keep planting. He's planting trees that he will never see mature. I bought some bonsai trees, some trees at a nursery that I decided to make out of bonsai, that I'm giving them an identity. I've been working on some of them for 7 years since I moved here, and some of them finally have an identity. An old bonsai tree is 300 years old. There's an azalea I saw that had been kept by the same family for 350 years. That's a concept of regenerativity. There's a continuity that I dare not break. And that is everybody, I believe everybody is to share their life experience, to create something while in the inevitable decline. So in declining, there's growth. That's regenerativity. Can you do it as a professional fighter? I don't know. I don't think so. Can you do it as a wrestler? Maybe. I've seen some old judo players can barely walk, but when they get on the mat, they look like babies. So I don't know the answer to these questions, but I do know that lacking regenerativity, I've witnessed it. I saw it in my father. My father was a very motivated by caring for his financial obligations. And when he retired, he had no life. And he waited around and then he finally died. He said he didn't really have much pleasure out of his life. And he was very well educated, and he was very well employed. He was vice president of a corporation and traveled around the world solving problems of manufacturing. And he was a people person. He knew how to manage people. He was a labor union organizer before that. He had a genuine concern for the working people. But when he himself stopped working, he had nothing to do. He had no way to keep growing. He had no way to keep moving. And all he did was sit around and wait. Regenerativity, constantly growing. And Professor Chenman Chang says in the Hall of Happiness, it's the joy of continuous growth, of helping to develop in ourselves and others the talents and abilities with which we were born. That's a regenerative process. It never ends. Tai Chi never ends. It never ends. My practice of Tai Chi is itself regenerative. I never practice the same thing twice. I never do the same postures in the same way twice. How can I? I'm a different person from moment one to moment two. I don't want to be in moment two degraded from moment one. I want to be uplifted by moment one, built on moment one, not stepping down from moment one. And then from moment two up to moment three. And then from moment three to the 10,000 things. It's a quote from Lao Tzu. Tao gives birth to one, one gives birth to two, two gives birth to three, and three gives birth to 10,000 things. So this is a concept of regenerativity. It's built into Chinese culture, from what I understand. I have not studied Tai Chi culture outside of my study of Tai Chi Chuan for 50 years. So if I were to be asked to give some advice to young people, I don't like to give advice, but my advice to people is this concept of regenerativity. I think it would be very difficult for someone like my father, who retired at age 70, whatever, I don't remember, to start up a life outside of his work. That would be very difficult. It was so difficult, he couldn't do it. Maybe somebody else could do it, but maybe if someone else could have done it, they'd already done it before they got to 70 years and then had to retire and had nothing to do but sit around and wait and die. What a horrible way to view the last part of one's life. It should be most exciting part of the life, built on years and years of observation and thinking and putting into practice philosophical and esoteric even concepts into real life situations. Being able to solve problems that you didn't even know existed when you were young. Old age is rich. What a shame to get dragged down by poor health or bad attitude. Anybody can have a bad attitude. It takes no work at all. It's the natural state of things. To keep a good attitude. What is a good attitude? It's regenerative. The attitude, you have something to do. I always have something to do. I always have plans for the future. They're not plans for the future. They're a path that I'm on now that continues into the future, that has no end. So it will always be regenerative. And I'm sure I'm being redundant. I feel strongly about people understanding the importance of conceptually moving forward, eternally growing, even though the years mount up and the body goes into decline. That's what I got to say.